Okay, good day. And a beauty day it is. You can tell from the intro, today is the day that we had to retire the 2024 Moline hat because the new to me, 2025 hat showed up. This is the style that I went with this year. I've done the flames before, but not in the black and yellow. So that's what we're going with. You can see there it is on the end. And that means it's time to start the new year. So plenty busy today. It's a beautiful day. We're going to head out of the shop. I went up to the tractor salvage yard with my sons this morning, and we found a couple of things that I'm super excited to share. So this first part I have showed on the channel quite a few times. I've talked about. It'll be pretty familiar to everybody, but it is the belt pulley for the 335. And I've talked about this all the way back at the beginning of the playlist. It originally had a belt pulley on it. When I bought the tractor, it was the one thing that the previous owner wanted to take off. I said, okay. And then I started looking for a belt pulley and a drive. Now, 2 years ago, I went to the Le Sueur swap meet and I found the gentleman that I bought the tractor from, and I bought the original belt pulley, but the drive was gone. So I've been spending a number of years looking for a drive, and I haven't been able to find one. I've checked salvage yards, I've tried eBay, I've tried multiple different things, but I have not tried this salvage yard that I went to today, and I am very pleased to say that I found one. So this is the drive. I pulled it off a carcass from a 445. That wasn't much left of it, but luckily this was still there. The 335 and the 445 shared the same drive for the belt pulley, all the same part numbers. Referring to the manual, the casing, which is number 3, you look at the number 3, and it is a 10B7120. So if we look at the casing, you can see it is a 10A7120. The funny thing is that 10B in the manual is the only 10B in the entire parts list. So everything else in the drive itself is a 10A part, but according to the manual, this should have been a 10B. So if there's anybody out there that knows why this is a 10A and not a 10B, leave in the comments for me, because I have no idea why this wouldn't match this manual. The 335 parts manual and the 445 parts manual all have it as a 10B and not a 10A. So it's just, I'm curious. Outside of that, I've got the 5 half 13s for securing it. The half 13s for securing the pulley to the drive were not there, and you can see that's been sitting open for a while, so it's pretty corroded and rusty and yucky. But I already got ahead of myself. I got excited, got the half 13 tap out and chased these 3 out already. I just have one more to do, and then it's going to get put away for a little bit longer until I can take it apart, do the bearing and races, and clean it up, paint it or prime it, and then get this put on. One of the missing links. I'll be very happy to have that done. Also at the tractor graveyard today, I found some of these. These are the side plates on the transmission that cover the hydraulic lines that run up for either power steering or your hydraulic accessory lines. So I originally didn't have these side plates on the 335. If you remember back to when I was working on the brakes, this tab was the only thing that was there, and it ran through this bolt to support the brake lock lever. But I think I am going to change it. Now, the 335 did not have power steering, so there really was no reason to have the hydraulics come up from the 3-point lift up to the front. However, I was looking through the part manual the other day, and I thought that this setup would be fun to try to imitate. So this is in the description what they call the service lift. These 4 fittings go into the side of the 3-point, and that's what the other 2 levers on the 3-point are for actuating 2 separate sets of hydraulics. And then they would run up through those 2 plates, and then they would go up past the steering column, and then they would stick out on each side with a set of quick couples for, my guess is probably a bucket. But then I saw these brackets that they had designed for holding the quick couples. I've never seen an actual set of them before, and I thought, you know what, that'd be super easy to make. So based on what we have here, I think I've got a tube bender. We're gonna bend all this tubing, and we're gonna make a set of these brackets, and we're gonna see if we can imitate this whole setup, just because I think it would be fun to do. So I ordered a bunch of 1/2-inch pipe. I got all the fittings already, and that is going to be a future episode here, and that is why I decided to hunt out these plates. So yeah, we've got actually 2 sets. I ordered this and this off of eBay, which is the right hand side, or no, no, this would be the left hand side, and then these I found today, which are the right hand side. And the right hand side are much smaller. I'm not sure why that has such a dramatic difference. I suppose because this side also would have the power steering line running through it. So yeah, I'm not sure why the dramatic difference. And then the other thing that I noticed was this one, if you can see it, has these little dimple slots. There's 2 of them that, where are we at? Right there is the other one, that are meant to be there. Not sure what they're for, if they're so a thin wire could run through there or what, but this one does not have the same thing. That is just straight steel. There's no dimple there. So I'm not sure what that would have been for and why there's a difference there. Okay, also I found a bracket that I need for my my Z. So my Z, I have a cultivator setup that I plan to put on it, and I have the hydraulic setup that I need to put on there, but I was missing this bracket. This bracket goes from the mounting bolts on the PTO belt drive up to the arm that holds the hydraulic cylinder. And I did not have this piece, and I found it and scooped it up. Got all the bolts for it, all the brackets for the battery cable and everything. Super happy about that. And the final piece we're going to get into here are lights. So these are the inside brackets for the lights. These go on a shroud that goes around the radiator, and it goes under the steel side panels, okay? So these mount on the side of the radiator like that. Now, a 335 uses a bracket like this to hold the headlights. So you would have the sheet steel here, and then this mounts on the outside of the sheet steel, and it runs through those threaded holes on this bracket. Okay, so I had both brackets. I had what I thought was the appropriate headlight, but only one of them. And this is not the correct headlight. I don't know what this came off of, but it is too thin, and this mounting bolt right here is wrong. So let me show you what a 445 has on it. A 445 has this setup where the light sits on about a 6-inch long, half-inch pole, maybe 3/4 inch, right? And then it's got like this pipe fitting that, again, radiator shroud bracket bolts onto the back of, and then you put the pipe in and you fasten it down with this set screw, and that's what holds the light in. Okay, so that's how a 445 is set up. Now, coincidentally, at another trip that I had to a tractor salvage yard, I found this headlight setup that had the adapter plates that were made for tractors that either had buckets or cultivators put on them. 445s that had a front bucket or a cultivator. And what they did is they had a bottom bracket right here and a top bracket that slides down like that. This matches this bolt pattern, so you would take your original bracket off, you would mount it in here, and then this whole setup would flip up, mount to the side of the tractor, and it would stand vertically up over the top of the hood. So I got both of those because I thought that's just a really cool setup, and I don't know if I'll ever see those brackets again, so I picked them up. And then today I also found another set of 335 brackets and the proper light casings. They're not in the best of shape, but they don't have any major rust holes through them. The innards are toast, but that's okay. In fact, I happen to have one sitting on the shelf. This one does not have the steel ring. This one has the steel ring, but it's in pretty bad shape. So that's not even going to be salvageable. Okay, I can use the rings that I have off of here, and I can either use the innards of these to fit into those, or I could find one more, which I probably have somewhere, that will get me the correct headlights for this 335 project. And the beautiful thing about that is then I will have a utility 445 that has the correct headlights and a utility 335 that has the correct headlights. So when you're looking at them sitting next to one another, you will be able to see the difference. So, all in all, I would say that my trip to the salvage yard was a success. I am so happy to have that drive, it's not even funny. The chances that I find another one are probably pretty slim, and at least I can quit dreaming about it. So, all right, that's going to do it for today. If you like the video, subscribe. I appreciate everybody that is supporting the channel. We've got a lot of projects, both Minneapolis, Moline, and a couple of just other oddballs that I hope to be able to share. So if you find this stuff interesting, stay tuned. There's going to be plenty more. I appreciate you all, and thank you.